We are now in a new year, and as you already know, the online business and the sales space is constantly changing. Now, I probably don't have to tell you about high ticket sales because you've probably heard it from Eamon Gadsey, Tate, Hormozy, and people like this. And it seems that everyone's kind of come to the consensus that the new best thing to make money isn't dropshipping, isn't SMMA, isn't actually even starting a business, but it's developing the skill of sales. So in this video, I'm going to assume you've already done your research, you know what sales is, and you are at the point now where you want to find a client that you can actually sell for. And like I said, I have made videos on this in the past, but I want you guys to have the most updated, current, and most effective way of actually doing so. Now, this method of finding a client or positioning yourself to find a client isn't something I've really seen anyone else in the space at all speak about, but it's what I think is by far the most powerful way you can go about positioning yourself to land your dream client. Not only is this the method that me and my students have used to land really good clients, but it's a method that we've used to position ourselves so the clients actually approach us and asked us to be on their team, which is actually just unheard of in the space in general. This is the newest and the most tactical way for you to go out and land the best possible quality client that you can. So I guarantee if you do follow the steps in this video that you will be able to find a client. So the very first step to make sure this is successful, and the step that most people skip, is positioning. What do I mean by positioning? You need to understand that if you want success in online business, specifically sales, your social media is your resume. Social media is based on perception. So everyone that doesn't actually know you personally is going to perceive you off your social media, meaning there is a massive importance on your social media and your profile because that's what people are going to judge you by. Oh, but I don't like social media. I don't want to post content. Stay poor. Moving on, there is 2 tiers or levels, whatever you want to call it, to building your social media presence. Let's say A tier and B tier. Now, A tier is slightly more difficult. It's going to take a little bit more time. But like I said, it's going to put you in a position to not only land basically any role that you want, but it's also going to position you to have clients come to you and ask you to be on their team. The B tier is less difficult, but it's not really going to get you as far and it's not going to position you as well. First, let's go through the A tier. So being that social media is how you're perceived in the marketplace, how do you build a strong presence that commands respect? The best way, and probably the only way, is by building a personal brand. Building a personal brand is really not as hard as it sounds, and you might have some self-limiting beliefs going off right now because it does require you to overcome some fear and take some big action. But if you can overcome that fear and not be a pussy and actually start putting yourself out there and portraying yourself in the online space and actually getting some digital real estate, then it is going to pay massively, I promise you. So how do you build a personal brand that commands respect and actually puts you in the best possible position? When it comes to personal branding, Instagram is the best platform for a few reasons, mainly because this is where you're going to do your outreach, but this is where most people actually start to build relationships and things like that. Instagram is basically where you broadcast yourself to the world. Instagram's perfect because it allows you to build a profile, post stories, and post content. I try to post at least 5 stories a day. This is by far one of the best ways to build a relationship with your audience and build up your personal brand. On top of that, you also need to be posting reels, posting photos, and posting constant content. This way, you build a strong following of people that genuinely like you. With Instagram, you want to make sure you're constantly in front of people, so constant stories, constant posts, building that relationship with your audience. On top of that, Instagram is where you're going to be doing the bulk of your outreach when you are trying to reach out to these clients, right? So you want to make sure you've got as many followers and you've got as good of a profile as possible. Now, so how did I grow my Instagram from 1,000, 2,000 followers to 4,500 in a few months? The best way, in my opinion, to grow your Instagram is through other platforms. So Reels on IG, but also TikTok. I gained over 2,500 Instagram followers just from TikTok in a few months. Post good short form content on TikTok and traffic that audience to your Instagram because there's way more room for virality on TikTok. This is so that you can build up a good following and good interactions on your profile, which gives you a bit more respect when you're doing outreach. Someone with 6, 7, 10,000 followers is way more likely to get a reply than someone with 8. Not only is it putting you in the best position possible for when you do your outreach, like I said, me and my students from TikTok content were able to actually get reached out to really big people in the space asking us to join their team because when you post content about a specific thing, it makes you look look very, very credible. And before I go on, I made a full free course on how to succeed with sales, how to post content, how to build a personal brand, and that will be the one and only link in the description. So please go watch that once you're finished with this video. So building a personal brand is by far the best way to position yourself in the best position for doing outreach and for finding a client, and to work with better influencers, higher level influencers. But what it comes down to is, are you willing to put in the work and post content every single day to grow your brand? If you're not, then I will get into the scared brokey tier, which is B tier. Then B tier is simply just getting your Instagram in order. So just making sure it looks clean, not really posting content, but just making sure there's no video of you drinking, doing drugs, doing stupid stuff, making sure you got a clean profile, a good bio, and some photos and stuff of you working to kind of legitimize yourself, even if it isn't building a personal brand. This is basically just the same thing, but just a less powerful version of actually having a brand. The reason we are doing all of this is because when you go to do outreach, if you have a good, commanding, respectful Instagram, you're going to get a response. If you have a shitty Instagram or a private Instagram, no profile picture, you are simply going to get swiped and deleted out of the DMs. And this is something I do. If you're going to come to me, come correct. And it goes the same for any other influencers. If you're going to DM them, make sure you come correct. They're not going to respond to a account with no profile picture that's on private. A good Instagram profile has a good clean headshot as the profile. It doesn't need to be super professional. As long as it looks clear, it looks good. Then your feed should just contain some photos of you working, some photos of you traveling, lifestyle, whatever it may be. If you want examples of what you can model off, just look at my account, look at other people in the space, and try to match their level of profile. And if you've got over like 1,000 followers, even get verified if you can, because that's always going to help you stand out in the sea of people reaching out. The reason we're doing this, and the reason why we're making sure everything's on point to the highest level we possibly can, is because people are going to see your message, click it, click your profile, and then decide whether or not they're going to reply. So when you do this outreach, you want to look like someone that's worth replying to. Once you've completed either the A or B tier of positioning, the next step is knowing actually who to outreach to and exactly how to reach out to them. So how do we vet clients? How do we know who is good, who's a scammer, who's reputable, and who's a fraud? Let me give you an example. Let's look at Tai Lopez, for example. He's got a very big personal brand, lots of content on Instagram, on YouTube, everywhere, and he's been around for a very long time. He could be an example of a good client to work for. You know he's got good lead flow, you know he's reputable, you know he's been around, and you know people trust him. Who we don't want to work for is the dude that's standing out front of a rented Lambo, money spreading and talking about Forex or some sort of Telegram, because that is a scammer and that's not what we want to do. We want a legit client with legit results and testimonials. Their Instagram is going to look very clean. They're going to have lots of results. They're going to have reputability and lots of content. They're going to have a good bio, and they're going to have a link to a free workshop or a free training or somewhere where you can opt in to their sales process. If they've got these things, or if they've got a CTA call to action in their bio, that also means that they have closers and setters on their account, which is a good thing because it means there's already people in that company making money, which means you can do the same thing. Now, the way I recommend you finding these people is by consuming content either through Instagram, through TikTok, or through YouTube. The best ones are probably YouTube and Instagram, by searching whatever niche that you want to be in. So let's say you want to be in a fitness niche. You would go onto Instagram and search fitness coach, go into YouTube and search fitness coach, find the people with offers, like I said, by checking if they have a link to booking a call, then DM them on Instagram, and you will do the outreach. Even just by using the Instagram fitness coach method, you'll find hundreds and hundreds of coaches, and you can do this in any niche. Once this is done, the next step is then outreach. Once this is done and you've collected a bunch of people that you can work with, then you are going to message these people. Now, you might think this isn't going to work, but if you've done the last steps correctly, it will. Guys, basically all the connections I've had, and I've connected with really, really high net worth individuals, and it's all been through Instagram or working for them as a closer. So trust me, these people will speak to you and they will connect with you. Like I said, now that we have the clients, I'm going to teach you how to actually reach out to them. And I'm just going to give you the exact script that I would use, because remember, the goal with this is to send the person a message that they are actually going to reply to. You don't want to go out there and message Eamon Gadzi or Tai Lopez and say, hey man, just please can I have an appointment setting role, please? They're not going to reply. Even I get a ton of messages on a daily basis saying, hey, is there any room? Are you looking for an appointment setter? No. Don't ask me that. So how do you actually stand out in a sea of people reaching out? One, like I said, is to have a good profile, but with the outreach, how do you stand out? When it comes to outreach, you want to personalize the message as much as possible. So you want to make it feel like you're speaking to them directly, and you can do that if you've got a mutual friend, if you've got something in common, or what I would like to do is send them a message, something along these lines. Hey John, I've been watching your stuff for quite a long time. I love how you do things. Not sure if your current sales team is doing this, but I've noticed by providing the prospect with a short pre-call video to watch at least 24 hours before the call, it not only increases the show up rate, but the quality of the call as well. This is the strategy I use with my sales process. When you highlight a problem that their sales team could be facing, and if they're not using this yet, he's going to actually go, damn, that's actually something I should implement in my sales team. Now you've provided value, you've stood out, and you haven't even asked for anything yet. From there, he's going to respond to you and he's going to say, I either am or I'm not doing that. Then you can say, I would love the opportunity to work with your team. If you are looking for any closers or setters on your team, please let me know. I feel like I can provide that value to your sales team. Now remember, outreach is a numbers game. Don't send 10 DMs, get no responses, and then never message anyone again and give up, because you should be sending hundreds of DMs and following up with every single one of them, because that's the type of salesperson that you are. Eventually, you're going to get a response back and you're going to get given an opportunity. Remember, the hardest part of the entire sales process is landing that first client. But once you do, everything is downhill from there. So this might be the hardest part, but just remember, once you stick through and you actually land that first client, it all gets easier. Once a client then decides that you would be a good fit, it is then time to actually get on a call, get on an interview with that client and close them, because if you're going to be a salesperson for that client, you should be able to close them on why they should hire you. In the full free course linked in the description, I go over all of this, so remember to watch that once you're done. But like I said, now that you've actually got a client, how do you take them from being interested to actually hiring you and working with you? What you're going to do is you're going to get on a call with them. You're going to be confident. You're not going to be flustered. You're not going to be fidgeting. You're going to look presentable. You're going to have a good background, and you're going to come across as a professional. And then once they have asked you a few questions, I want you to ask them questions back. Ask them, what are your on-target earnings? What is your top closer currently bringing in revenue? Using this industry terminology is a green flag because it shows your experience. It shows you know what you're talking about. Some other really good questions to ask is, how can I be a really good culture fit for your team? How long have you been in business? Where do you plan on taking this business in the next few years? Things like this to show that you're actually invested in the business and you want to help it grow. Now, even ask to role play with the business owner to showcase your skills. If you went through a training group like what I did, then you will actually have some experience in role plays and you'll be able to role play with them and kind of flex your muscles a little bit as well. In this process, don't come off as though you're desperate and you need the job. Come off as though you would like the opportunity to help grow their business and you believe that you can do so. So guys, this should equip you with everything you need to know to go ahead and get your client. I don't want you to just click off this video and forget about it. I want you to actually go do some outreach now. Send at least 50 to 100 DMs today and repeat that and follow up with all the people that you DM until you have a role. It's not going to be easy, but if you get through the first step, everything will get easier from there. Understand now that everyone's talking about sales and it's not just by chance. Everyone's talking about this because it's literally the easiest way to 10K a month, but then also to give you the skills to take yourself to 30, 40K a month and beyond. So please don't make the same mistake that you've made in the past. Don't miss out. Start developing this skill now. Be one of the best. Be one of the OGs. Start crushing it and you'll be financially free by the end of the year. I promise you. Just start. This is exactly what I did about a year ago. Please comment any questions that you guys have on any of this, and I'll see you guys soon. Love.